Hey guys, it's Jim, welcome back to my channel, and this is another requested review for John. Thank you very much for the request. And it is of 1974's Thunderbolt and Lightfoot, starring Clint Eastwood and Jeff Bridges, directed by Michael Cimino. Now, this is an interesting film, and John is very much a Clint Eastwood fan like myself. You know, I love discovering new films of Clint Eastwood. I think he's one of the greatest Hollywood stars of all time. You know, the weird thing about Clint Eastwood is he's not the best actor, but he also is in a weird way. Like, he's so charismatic, he's so great. He doesn't always do the most amazing performance in the world, but he's capable of that, if that makes sense. He's so capable, and he's so great even when he's not doing something mind-blowing in a lot of ways. And I think Thunderbolt and Lightfoot is one of those films, a lot like, you know, Escape from Alcatraz. I think he's only decent in that, but through being only decent, through being reserved, he's also very, very good. And Thunderbolt and Lightfoot is very much, for me, it's a new Hollywood movie. It really, really is. New Hollywood was such a great era where so many groups of new filmmakers came in, changed American cinema, and just made films that were more off the cuff, that were more about real life at the time, about real trends, about real people's struggles, and, you know, very much the filmmaker's movies. Very much the filmmaker got their end product out there. Very much a time, you know, obviously late 60s to I guess early to mid 80s. There was so much real expression going on from filmmakers, and so many films that weren't necessarily trying to be conventional, you know, that were just real, honest expressions. And I feel like Thunderbolt and Lightfoot is that. It kind of encapsulates the kind of good old boys, you know, old school guys movie, and it reflects the time period. You know, you could say today there are pluses and minuses to the way that we've become more of a progressive society. Here you look back and you could see the things that were wrong with, I guess, toxic masculinity, I guess. But, you know, I have a soft spot for those movies and for that time and for that style of watching that sort of man on cinema. You know, like today you're never going to get this. You're never going to get a film which shows men in their natural state, but back here you really, really did. And it just felt authentic, you know. And you know, Michael Cimino is an interesting director. He was so authentic, you know. Obviously, he done The Deer Hunter. He also done Heaven's Gate, which is a very controversial film, but it really was what he wanted to make. So he doesn't water down his characters at all. And you know, you've got Jeff Bridges as Lightfoot, who is this arrogant, sleazy, wisecracking guy who's always, you know, hitting on women, you know, starting fights and just being an all-round bit of a douchebag. But you like him. And Jeff Bridges is fantastic in this. He's so good. Every time he's on screen, he kind of steals the moment because he's just so many little gestures to the performance. It just feels like real people, you know, like this guy is real, he's believable.
Where are we headed, man? I'm ready.
I don't know. Sometimes when there's nothing to do, it's best just to keep moving.
You smell something up here?
No?
Smell it?
I don't smell anything.
It smells like shit.
And then, of course, he meets Clint Eastwood, who is the more experienced version of him in a way. He's more grown up. He's more reached a point in his life where he's not so much of a drifter. He wants to actually do a job and have that job go through. So he's kind of the balance to Jeff Bridges' character, and Jeff Bridges is Lightfoot, and Clint Eastwood's character is nicknamed Thunderbolt. Now, Thunderbolt starts off the film impersonating a vicar and doing imaginary sermons. You're like, what is going on here? And then there's this whole scene of Clint Eastwood dressed as a vicar running across a cornfield being chased by someone with a gun. And again, you know, this is what you got back in the New Hollywood era. You got images that you wouldn't forget. And you got images that were so pushing the boundaries of what we were used to, conventional storytelling. Conventional protagonists had changed, and we actually had bad people as our leads, but we were taught to see them as likable. Many films, experimented with this in this time. Those movies about guys planning jobs. The Italian Job, for example, Easy Rider. All the films from this era were not about good people, but they were about an attempt to fulfill that American dream. That's what they were about, and they were essentially about the futility of the American dream and how it doesn't satisfy. And while the films had a lot of joy in them, they usually had a real come down at the end. And Thunderbolt and Lightfoot is like that. It's a film with a lot of joy. It's a film with a lot of scenes of these characters driving across the American highways and driving across the beautiful roads of America, and seeing the beautiful countryside and the freedom of it. Very much a film about driving across America with soft rock playing. It's one of those solid examples of that. And it fills you with that awe and that wonder of the idea of America. The idea of exploring America was very, very prevalent back here. America still felt like a place that there was a lot to still find out about America. There was a lot for the everyman to do in America. It's almost like a crime movie version of Dumb and Dumber, these characters, because they just play off each other so well. And Clint Eastwood is so father-like almost to Jeff Bridges, and I've never seen Jeff Bridges like this. Jeff Bridges is so lively in the role. He really, really is. Constant lines he comes out with, and in constant moments, these characters where they end up in jovial antics, but their life's also on the line. And this was again another theme in these sorts of movies. You could have fun seeing these characters risk their lives and almost get killed in certain moments.
Drop your cocks and reach for your socks.
Don't look at me, I didn't say a word.
Gradually, slowly but surely, the film starts to get more darker. As the crime is planned more, two other guys come into the fold who are Thunderbolt's old partners. They come into the fray. So these two characters who aren't like Thunderbolt and Lightfoot are now in the mix. So that gives it a certain edge of you become a bit more nervous for the characters, and as they're planning the job, things get a bit more nerve-wracking. Lightfoot starts to realise this isn't one big joke like he's viewed life as up to this point. He realises he's actually planning a bloody crime, and Thunderbolt's has to get more focused, and we see him as he is. He is a professional thief. So gradually the tension builds, and then when they start to administer this job that they go on, the movie gets serious, and we see that these characters are willing to partake in crime and aggressive crime. They are bad people, and they eventually get their just desserts, and that happens in this film. There's a real come down in this film. But Michael Cimino is a filmmaker who people should definitely check out. Obviously done The Deer Hunter, which is an absolute masterpiece. That is one of the greatest films of all time. Slated at the time, but heralded in recent years. Heaven's Gate is a stunning film, which has just been hated over the years, but now it's heralded a bit more. Again, example of what these films were. They were pushing so many boundaries. And Michael Cimino is a filmmaker who doesn't really get talked about, along with the Francis Ford Coppolas and the other directors of the time. The Martin Scorsese's. It's very much not in that discussion, but very much made some of the most quality films of the new Hollywood era. And he is a great visual director. It's very, very wonderful splendor, obviously, of the American land and the American streets. He works in music very well. He changes the tone of the film and builds some tension very well. He creates a sense of atmosphere very well, and a sense of a ticking time bomb very well. He creates the joy when he needs to. He shoots Jeff Bridges and Clint Eastwood as proper Hollywood stars. Jeff Bridges looks like a star in the making in this. You know, he's very, very good at showing you the frame and making everything seem important. Very much a filmmaker who wanted to make every shot seem important, but every shot seem honest and authentic. He also directed Magnum Force, which I actually think... I mean, the thing, Magnum Force is the second Dirty Harry movie, and I actually, for years, preferred it to Dirty Harry. Recently rewatched Dirty Harry, and it's difficult to prefer anything to that. That is just one of the greatest films of all time, and what a Clint Eastwood performance. What an incredible, gritty, dark, unbelievable film. Another film of the New Hollywood. But Magnum Force is great as well, and it's Michael Cimino. Michael Cimino is so underrated. But yeah, Thunderbolt and Lightfoot is a good film. I think it's got a joyful and playful and entertaining first act, which is just a nice breeze, a nice fun watch, and you like the characters. The second half of the film is very good. It's got a wonderful culmination and a wonderful ending, which is very heart-wrenching. So I won't spoil it, but it really, really is. So I recommend the film. It's definitely a gem of this time, but there are better New Hollywood films, but it's still Michael Cimino doing what he does best, which is give an authentic snapshot of 70s America of a time that just is gone now. We don't have it. It's just a great moment in time of a different America. You know, very much like the westerns of the 50s under Howard Hawks were so American. They just were. These were so American in their way, and I think we've kind of got away from films being expressions of cultures in a way. We really kind of in a way have, but we got it back here because they were just so they came from a genuine place of a director wanting to express his experience of America. Thank you very much to John for requesting Thunderbolt and Lightfoot. I actually have another request to get to for John. Thanks for watching, everyone. Let me know what you think of this film in the comments, and subscribe if you're a movie geek just like me. I will see you in the next video.
Why don't you take this watch, huh? I want you to have it.
I don't want your watch, man. I want your friendship. God damn it, I like you, that's all. I thought we were getting to be friends. We're good together.
Kid, you're 10 years too late.
Are you sure one lost dude, aren't you?